Come on. And Wyatt Langford's not a finalist for Rookie of the Year? Are you kidding me? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to give you an update on Sasaki. We're going to let you know what Adolis Garcia is doing this offseason, and we're going to do it all on the DLLS Rangers podcast, which starts right now. Yeah, to me, it's more of an exclamation point than a question mark. Wyatt Langford at least deserved to be a finalist. You maybe could make a case that he's not the Rookie of the Year, but he needed to be a finalist. He's not. The finalists in many of the postseason awards were announced yesterday. Among them, Rookie of the Year, Wyatt Langford, not among them. We'll get to all of the award finalists and all of the, at least the snub stories, at least in the case of Rookie of the Year. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here. I'm Rads with Abs over there, Abby Jones. There's
Hello.
J-Dub, Jeff Wilson, and we've got the Prophet over here. We're in the big studio today, so we get to talk louder, and we have to talk louder sometimes when the Cowboys crew is here. So that's what we'll do today. And we will talk. Look at Luds over here. Luds is in prepping for his show. He knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, he's caught in the middle, yeah. Can't hear himself think. Not that, I mean, we can hear him think, but Luds can't hear himself think. Yeah, don't you hear the wheels turning? Yeah. So, anyway, BC, nice to have you along. I'm so surprised he started with Go Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is intro.
Never see that from BC, and we'd love to have you chat along with us. We would love to have you like us, subscribe to us. We're always looking to increase that subscriber number. We did get over that 10,000 subscriber plateau, but remember, it's free. Sometimes you say the word subscribe, you think subscription, you think magazine, or you think one of the streaming services. It's free. You get a YouTube subscription, and that way it's a lot easier to watch us each and every day. YouTube will remind you, I should say, that we're here. And we are here, all of us at DLLS. We're here to make it more fun to be a fan. I mean, that's one of the things we're here to do. That's certainly a mantra that we don't get to enough, but we want this to be fun for you. It's really been fun for us. I think you can tell that, and we're even having fun in this off season, even when we're angry. Jeff, like the fact that Wyatt Langford isn't one of the finalists for Rookie of the Year. You're not angry.
I'm not angry, but it's not. It's. I kind of wonder about the electorate and the voters, many of whom I know. It seems like with MVP and Cy Young more is put into your ballot at that point. Rookie of the Year, a little harder to find the statistics and things.
And I forget,
but it's worth doing. You
which
need to
ones
do
do you vote for? I forget.
Well, this year I voted for Cy Young. That's it. We only do one in our chapter. We only do one award each year, and this year I did.
Oh, okay.
Cy Young. In the past, I voted for MVP, Cy Young, Rookie, and Manager. So anyway, and I know that Wyatt Langford is going to be on some ballots. I 100% know that with certainty. But you kind of look at the numbers and really, Luis Yule, the pitcher for the Yankees, he's deserving. Colton Cowser, probably deserving. But the issue is with Austin Wells.
Yeah.
And Wyatt's not the only one who has an argument. Honestly, there are a couple guys that Willie Ibar from the Red Sox, the reliever Cole from the Guardians, all can stake a claim to, hey, what about me? But Wyatt, the way he finished the season, it really propped up his numbers. I wonder if guys had submitted their ballots, guys and gals had submitted their ballots before the final week of the regular season. It's due the last day of the regular season. I held on to my AL Cy Young ballot until then, even though I knew well in advance who I was voting for. But anyway, you look at the numbers, and he was a better rookie than Austin Wells. There's just no doubt about it. It's 100%. The numbers are on his side. I guess the thing that might have been against him was that Wells was the catcher for the best team, one of the best teams in the American League.
Yeah.
The top seed, I guess, in the postseason. So maybe that had an effect. But numbers wise, it's hard to look at it and go, yeah, he was better than Wyatt Langford.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the thing with Wyatt is that it wasn't throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
We're well aware of his month of September. To be honest, I mean, Austin Wells has 13 home runs on the season. Wyatt Langford had 8 in 1 month.
Yeah.
And, he finished with 16, so it was a slow start. Had a little bit of injury and, took him a little bit of time to adjust. But, I mean, if you look at the numbers, Wyatt Langford by a landslide, and I do think, to Jeff's point, it makes sense that, it was a difficult position too. I'm sure they calculate defensive metrics as well. Austin Wells was great behind the plate too and led a few categories there. So, yeah, I mean, he had a lot of contributions and, played on the best team in the American League, but Wyatt Langford was snubbed.
Yeah, and, we talked about it before the show, Abs, about just the whole process is a little bit of comparing apples to
you got a
crab
picture in
apples
there.
or apples to oranges or apples to horse apples. I mean, everybody's not, you can't analyze everybody with the same exact metrics. But I will say this, advanced metrics have allowed us to create more numbers that are very significant, things like WAR,
right.
And that's one of them that allows, that calls for Wyatt Langford to be among the finalists.
Oh, Jeff loves some more.
I don't love WAR, but if it's going to be the measuring stick for pitchers and MVPs, it needs to be the measuring stick for rookies. I mean, if that's kind of that's kind of the way that the voters have shifted over the years is, oh well, he had a higher WAR. I mean, I famously was dogged for voting Mike Trout for MVP, even though Mookie Betts had the higher WAR. And then, when Miguel Cabrera was winning the Triple Crown, people were voting for Mike Trout. I was like, well, look at his WAR. It's just shifted now. And it's like it's like voting last Tuesday, it's like, hey, whatever you want to vote for, whatever reasons and whatever you have, it's your vote. But you need to do research down ballot, and not just look at the top of the what's at the top of the ballot, because clearly the New York guys are in the spotlight more. Colton Cowser played for the Orioles, who were a contender, and all of that jazz. But look down ballot. I'll be honest. I mean, Mason Miller, the A's closer,
sure,
he's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty dang good.
Yeah, he did.
So,
I know. I was going to say, if Langford was in the pinstripes out there, would it be different?
Right. Oh, for sure it would. And I saw our buddy Jeff Fry, former Ranger, on Twitter, X, talking about, and indignant as we have been about various of the finalists in these various groups. And he was, he made a comment, something to the effect of, I don't know who does this voting, but they're insane. And look, the reality, and it's funny, former players today, they don't know, but it's 30, right? Is it 30 baseball writers?
30, yeah. So, if you're an American League beat writer, you vote on the American League. It's two from every chapter. Right. So I voted for Cy Young, but I don't know who else did. But there was somebody else who did. And so we'll see. But
and so somebody else from our team that represents the beat of the Rangers also voted for Cy Young. Yes,
I believe that is correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I see.
It's definitely two for MVP. And but yeah, I mean, it's the voting will come out next week, because when all these are announced, the BBWA does release its ballots out of transparency, and which is important, very important. I am 100% on board with that. And if you go to bbwa.com, you can look up past MVPs, and you can see, you know, who voted, and you can rip them. I mean, I remember one time I was voting, and it's not just first place and second place. I mean, these people will look down ballot. I remember one year I left Jose Ramirez completely off my ballot, and you know, obvious, or maybe, yeah, I think it was him. But anyway, a complete oversight, and some Cleveland fans were on my ass about it, and that's fine, you know. But he had no chance to win it, I guess.
Did you defend yourself, or did you just let it go? Or
I was just like, eh.
Yeah, stuff happens. Has anybody really ever gotten super angry with you?
Well, I think you know, the Red Sox fans were a little displeased that I didn't have
Betts,
their guy.
Yeah,
because he had a fantastic year, but he wasn't unanimous. Somebody else voted for actually JD Martinez that year, his teammate. So there were some people who were disappointed with that, and but you know, there were just ways to do it. Like, you know, there's a, you know, OPS plus, which brings in park factors. Trout was above Betts in that, you know, because Betts right field, Fenway Park, lots of doubles and home runs there. You know, in the American League West, you're not going to hit. You're going to run into some pitchers' parks, and it's going to skew your numbers. But anyway, you know, just it's a, I don't know, blessing. It's a privilege to do it, but you got to take it seriously, man. You know, one year Evan Grant left Dustin Pedroia off his ballot entirely, and Pedroia won the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so Evan was like, "Gosh, you know, he had to write, like, I completely screwed that up. I don't know what I did, but obviously, you know, so." It happens to everybody.
Did he get death threats or anything?
I don't think he got any death threats.
Maybe if he hadn't won, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
there were a couple of Tampa Bay writers a couple years ago who, gosh, it might have been Verlander, a Verlander Cole competition. I don't remember what it was, but they caught some hell for it. Just, these things happen, and we're not perfect, but to your point, yes, it is 2 for Cy Young as well, and all the way down. But yeah. Anyway, we'll find out next week. We'll find out who screwed up next week.
I was looking while you guys were talking. Austin Wells Wyatt Langford beat Austin Wells in every single category that they listed.
Really?
So Austin Wells, 32 extra base hits. Wyatt Langford had 45.
Okay. Check.
His Austin Wells had 55 runs batted in, RBI. Wyatt Langford had 74.
Check.
And OPS plus, Austin Wells had 103. Wyatt Langford had 111.
And do they list WAR there?
They did not.
Pretty sure Wyatt's was 3.9.
Yeah, Wells was 2.5.
They didn't list.
3.9 to 2.5.
Colton Cowser was 3.1.
Yeah.
Okay, but he had a higher OPS plus.
Okay.
So, you know, it just.
I mean, Wyatt Langford is neck and neck with Colton Cowser.
Cowser had more home runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cowser had 24 home runs. But I mean, Cowser had 121 hits. Wyatt Langford had 126. So it's like he's not only, you know, outdid Austin Wells, he's similar with the guy that was in first place, and I guess if you want to call it that way, in the Rookie of the Year conversation. You know?
Mm-hmm. So I think what we're saying is go to bbwa.com and heckle the people who, no, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Give us hell.
Yeah. No, but that's why the transparency is there. You won't know until next week. They're going to announce all of the winners next week. And of course, we'll have fun running through the winners as well. Today, we're going to run through more of the finalists coming up next. No Rangers on any of the lists of finalists since Wyatt Langford didn't make Rookie of the Year, but we'll talk about some of the other awards and some of the controversy that could be involved in that one, especially the Cy Young Award, for which Jeff is a voter this year. We'll talk about that. We'll also get to our cleanup segment, including Tony Tuesday. Oh, my goodness. We got to get to that. That's coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
You know how when you like don't know that you know something, and then when you learn about it, you see it everywhere?
Yes.
Rowback. Just watching documentaries, guys are wearing rowbacks and walking around the arenas, guys are wearing rowback shirts. So it's one of those things. I've been familiar with it. I just didn't know. I didn't associate the logo with the name.
Right.
But I've seen it forever. Rowback is performance polos, and it is some of the best in the game. They have a wicking fabric, so it doesn't seem like it's ever going to cool off in Dallas. But if it does, the wicking fabric is going to be helpful out on the golf course or whatever you're doing with your buddies. It's great quality. It is also pretty fashionable. They have a game day selection. Seems to be SEC heavy, but they do have a game day selection if you want to support your favorite team while looking stylish and being comfortable. Long days at the golf course or at a tailgate or field or whatever, go to Rowback. Think of John Radigan because it's RHOBACK and use code DLLS20 for 20% off.
All right, question for you. Do my Shady Rays look any different now than they did before?
Yeah, didn't you lose yours?
You ask a good question. Ab says, didn't you lose yours? They look exactly the same, even though for a week they sat down in my car between the seat and the, and the console in the middle. They had slipped in there, and I had family. Everybody moving the seat.
Spotless.
No worse for the worse. Finally, I vacuumed. Give me a week. Give me a week. I'll vacuum the car. And I finally vacuumed. I go in there with the vacuum. I'm like, what the hell's that? It's the Rowbacks. We told you they're indestructible. They're not scratched. They're not bent. They still look exactly the same. Do yourself a favor. Go to ShadyRays.com and get your polarized sunglasses. They're almost indestructible. You use the code DLLS, and you get 35% off Shady Rays polarized sunglasses. They're fantastic.
Bet Miss Kathy likes those.
She does, very much so. Very much so. And why wouldn't she? I mean, they're fine. They're beautiful. So let's talk about the other awards that are were announced yesterday. You got MVP, you got Cy Young, you got Manager of the Year, in addition to Rookie of the Year. Yeah. And let's start with Cy Young. Okay. And that's probably the one that, because the finalist has a little controversy attached to it, and you're a voter, and I know you can't, under the pain of being shot by a stray bullet, you can't say who you voted for.
I cannot, but it is interesting that a reliever is one of the three guys.
Yeah, that's the controversy.
And I don't, look, it's for the best pitcher.
Yeah,
and you look at Emmanuel Clase's numbers, and they were just flabbergasting. How good he was. He did it for a contender. You wonder would the Guardians have been as good without him? But then you kind of have to say, all right, well, he only threw 73 innings or whatever it was, and you have guys who were left off of people's ballots who had close to 200 or 190, 180, twice as many strikeouts and things like that. Who have more effect on the outcome of a game than a guy who comes in a lot of times with the 3-run lead and can give up a run and still get a save. But if you look at Clase's numbers beyond saves, just spectacular. So it takes a season like that. You look back and John, you informed me Eric Gagne was the last reliever to win the Cy Young 21 years ago. It's not like this happens all the time. I know that Fernando Rodney got some votes, I don't know, maybe a decade ago. He even got a first-place vote, which blew people's minds, even though he had 56 saves, I think, for a Tampa Bay team that was really good. Dennis Eckersley, of course, won a Cy Young Award. Didn't he win the MVP, too? He at least won the Cy Young Award. And then, Raleigh Fingers, a guy like that who did win an MVP award as a reliever. So it doesn't happen much. It takes extraordinary seasons, and was Clase's enough to win it? Probably not when you look at some of the other starters. But is it worthy of being on a 5-person ballot? Yeah, probably.
Honorable mention.
Yeah, well, and you go back. The one you didn't quite go back far enough to the start of my career. Guillermo Hernandez, then known as
84.
Willie Hernandez in '84. He won the Cy Young and the MVP,
Right.
and it was controversial even back then. I must admit, MVP was more controversial than the Cy Young was because here's a guy, you know, he only appeared in 140 innings of an entire season.
Right.
But, and again, numbers were different. The game was so much different back then. But he saved 32 games out of 33 chances.
Yeah, and he wasn't just throwing an inning either. He was well, I'm 140 innings, like Mike Marshall in 72 or 73, whatever it was for the Dodgers. He's pitching like 103 games that year. You know, so but yeah, it is different, and players are valued differently. Like, you know, wins. Nobody gives a crap about wins.
No,
you know, from a voting electorate, but I guarantee you the damn players care about wins.
Sure they do.
Yeah.
Managers care about getting their players wins because they know that players care about wins. So, you know, like Jacob deGrom won a Cy Young with what, 11 wins, something like that. You know, but everything else was just outrageous. And the argument is, well, the win's not in his control. And you're right. A lot of times it's not. But sometimes, you know, Jack Morris, who finally got into the Hall of Fame, who always said, I pitched to the score. You know, he did what he had to do to keep his team around, keep it close. So he has the highest ERA of any pitcher in the Hall of Fame. I believe that's right.
I think that's right.
But also he had the most wins in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of it has changed. But I know that, you know, old school writers still look at wins now. You know, I guess like Rick Porcello won 21 games not that long ago, but there was a case where he shouldn't have been the Cy Young winner. But, you know, it just Max Scherzer, when he went 20-3 in 13, he beat out Yu Darvish. There were a lot of numbers that were in Yu Darvish's favor, but maybe it did come down to wins that year. I don't know, but you just don't see the closer because they don't think they have an impact in the game. But if Emmanuel Clase saved 43, or maybe it was higher than that even.
It was 47.
47. So he was a factor in half of the Guardians' wins.
Yeah.
That's pretty important.
No, I know. I was kind of going to say, like, I think that my argument with Scooble goes hand in hand with my argument for Manager of the Year, AJ Hinch. Because it's like AJ Hinch took a team that has one starter, pitching chaos, we know, won 31 of the last 44 games, but it's like you don't win those without Scooble, you know, and Scooble is Tarek Scooble, and we're well aware of what he does and things like that. But yeah, I mean, those kind of coincide to me because you can't really have one without the other.
No, that's right. And when we're talking about that relief pitcher argument, we are actually going to get an expert on tomorrow, and we'll revisit this then because
I know the guy.
One of the best relievers we know, and the best guy.
That's a good way to put it. One of the best that we know,
and a guy who's as good a guy as anybody out there. Abby's dad is going to join us tomorrow. And remember, Todd was the Rolaids relief man, the fireman of the year. They used to call him the fireman. So he was the Rolaids pitcher of the year in 2000. So they have the trophy at home to prove it. Maybe we'll ask him to show it tomorrow. But anyway, we'll have Todd on to talk about this tomorrow because I think it's a pretty worthy topic. It actually surprised me that we haven't had any of those other great. Mariano Rivera never won a Cy Young award.
Yet he's the only guy ever in the Hall of Fame 100% of the ballots.
Yeah. Right. Never won the Cy Young, and he never got higher than third, actually.
And, like, let me present this to you. You got to make it like apples to oranges somehow. Do you think National League should also have a relief pitcher in their finalist conversation? Like, if you're going to do...
No. Well, I don't think so. Not if you didn't have anybody that was dominant like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's like it's literally apples to oranges.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like Jeff's saying, you're voting for the best pitcher, right? They're all pitchers, so
there's categories.
Yeah. You could categorize it and make it further, deeper, that kind of thing. Make it the Todd Jones Relief Pitcher of the Year award.
Well, look, relievers have taken on a more important role.
Sure.
I mean, not just the last 5 years, but really even since let's say Bruce Sutter or Raleigh Fingers were the first real firemen, to go in there and save a bunch of games. They're incredibly. This is something that baseball created. they're really underrepresented in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Frankly, if baseball is going to create this position, kind of like DH, and there are going to be people who are like, well, all he did was hit. He never had to play defense, and I think that kind of might have worked against Frank Thomas, who obviously got in, but because he didn't get, I don't think he was in the 90 percentile in the vote. So that might have been held against him because he spent half of his career as a DH. Edgar Martinez, I really think that really dragged him down for a long, long time before he finally got in. I think on his 10th and final year. Closer, I mean, we got Raleigh Fingers, I guess. Bruce Sutter, Lee Smith, Mariano Rivera. I'm probably Eckersley Hoffman. Okay, but like Billy Wagner is really, really fighting to get into the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
And his numbers, if you look at them, are better than Lee Smith's, and I mean, Lee Smith had a huge number of saves. Francisco Rodriguez, I've been voting for him the last couple of years, the Angels closer, because he had the huge season with the 60 saves, but gosh, he was really good. And when you look at his career numbers, they're Hall of Fame worthy. So anyway, it's just kind of weird.
Yes.
Did you happen to talk to Maddox about any of this the other day?
The only time I've ever talked to Maddox about pitching awards was when Verlander ended up winning it. People will say, well, pitchers have their own awards.
Oh, when he won MVP?
So that would have been 11.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, but they're also players. I mean, it's most valuable player. It's not most valuable.
And he won Cy Young that year.
He won them both.
Too.
Yeah.
So,
and I think Clayton Kershaw has pulled the double as well.
Yeah.
He has.
Look, if they're the most outstanding player, whether they throw it, whether they're hitting home runs. I mean, that year I did not vote for Verlander. I voted for Jacoby Ellsbury. I emailed it from my car while I was driving to the airport because I'd forgotten to submit my ballot. But anyway, it was and some people were dead against oh no, position players pitchers should never win MVP. I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too.
So the other candidates or the other finalists, I should say, in the American League Cy Young Award voting would be Seth Lugo, the righty from the Royals, who had a great year, and of course the odds-on favorite to win it, the aforementioned Abs brought him up, Tarek Skubal of the Tigers is probably your likely winner. The finalists in the National League, you've got Paul Skeens, the rookie from the Pittsburgh Pirates, who's also up for Rookie of the Year in the National League, Zach Wheeler of the Phillies, and again, odds-on favorite to win it probably Chris Sale of the Braves.
It'll be interesting to see. Skeens may end up getting shut out. I mean, I know he's Jackson Merrill is a popular choice for Rookie of the Year along with Skeens, and so we'll see about that one. That'll be Skeens could go for 2, but pretty clearly he's going to have a chance to win a Cy Young here in the near future.
Yeah. So more to talk about with regard to the award season that's coming up. We'll get to Manager of the Year. We'll get to MVP coming up. We've got a lot more to talk about coming up in the next couple of segments as well. And, of course, we mentioned already we're going to get to our Tony Tuesday. We're going to get to an update on what Adolis Garcia has been doing recently. It's all coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Fellas, I'm going to have the uncomfortable conversation for you. We're going to talk about our friends at Blue Chew. If you aren't aware of what Blue Chew is, it's very much like Cialis and Viagra. Helps you make a lasting impression, not just a first impression, but a lasting impression. Helps perform. Helps make you happy. Helps make the missus happy, or the future missus happy. Whatever the case is. If you're having that issue, go ahead and check out BlueChew.com. It's an online service that delivers like I said, same as Viagra and Cialis. You get to do it by consulting with one of their medical experts. Once you're approved, you get your prescription within days, and it's all done online. You don't have to call the doctor. You don't have to talk to the receptionist, the doctor. the nurse practitioner, whatever it is. It's pretty clean. And does it work? Yeah, try it for a first month and see. And that's where we get you to our offer. Try Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code ALLCITY at checkout. Just pay the $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code ALLCITY to receive your first month. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this show.
Rugged Road, the cooler of all coolers. It is reliable, durable, built to last, built to be used. And if you have a leak, it'll also help you out with the roof. But Rugged Road, our friends at Rugged Road, great cooler here. We always keep some cold ones when we have a guest on. But it's floatable, has a lightweight design, durable and dependable, and versatile. You can take it fishing, tubing, camping, and tailgating. So go to Rugged Road, use DLLS for 10% off on your purchase. Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays.
Rugged Road it is. So MVP almost seems like a foregone conclusion in many ways in both leagues. National League finalists Francisco Lindor, of course, of the Mets, Ketel Marte of the Diamondbacks, and Shohei Ohtani. Perhaps you've heard of him. And hey, oh, by the way, there's a DH that's being, recognized. So that's pretty good. In the American League, you've got Juan Soto of the Yankees. Who knows where he'll end next year. North Texan, Bobby Witt Jr. of the Royals, a great shortstop, and then the odds-on favorite, Aaron Judge. Do we get, I think more so in the case of Ohtani, Jeff, than in the case of Judge, but do we get a unanimous MVP?
I think so. It's not like it's close, really, with him and Lindor, and Lindor's defense and it would come into a factor here. I mean, this guy did 50-50, and he didn't just do 50-50. It was over 50-50.
Yeah, like 59, 54 or something.
It's pretty ridiculous. And, important to note that awards are based regular season only. The postseason has nothing to do with it. All voting is due at the end of the regular season. But he did help a team get to the playoffs as the one seed. I think they're the 1 seed, maybe the 2 seed, whatever. Helped them get to the playoffs, and so he was a contributor to a playoff contending team. I think he does win the MVP. Although I could see a crotchety old guy saying no, he didn't play the field, but of course he couldn't play the field because he's hurt.
Yeah,
so anyway, I think it's unanimous. Yeah, I think it's unanimous.
It's kind of funny though because I looked up all the graphics that like MLB Network put out, and they're just trying to make it comparable.
Okay.
To look okay, right? Yeah. Shohei Ohtani, 54 home runs, 130 RBI, 134 runs. Francisco Lindor, he doesn't get home runs in his category. He gets extra base hits, runs, and second base.
Yeah.
Or doubles. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not even trying to make it look,
no,
close.
Because if they use the exact same numbers, it would look silly.
It's a shoo-in.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of hilarious because, I mean, even Ketel, they put up his home runs and his RBI and his OPS. So it's like, it is kind of funny how they're showcasing these awards and stuff because if they truly put up the numbers that matter,
right?
You know who it is.
The comps aren't very comparable,
right,
as it were, in that case. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It was when they did the Players' Choice Awards. Aaron Judge was the most outstanding player, which I thought was interesting.
And because he played the field,
I guess.
Is that what we figure? Yeah. Okay.
But he did have a higher. Ohtani's WAR is highest in the National League, but it's third overall behind Judge and Bobby Witt. So it's again, it comes down to the voters, but it just seems like it's going to be it should be two sweeps. Although, gosh, what a season Bobby Witt had.
Yeah, it's like you feel bad for him because if Aaron Judge wasn't doing what he did this season, like he would be the guy. But yeah, just kind of how it plays out. But it is interesting that the Yankees have two contenders and two awards.
Finalists. But the reality is, in that one, and again, pretty amazing actually, because you can make the case that Soto is as good a hitter, maybe the best hitter on the planet. But Aaron Judge put up better numbers and had a better year. But
By a lot.
But Soto is going to get a big payday. We'll update that.
Yeah,
actually.
that's the real award.
Yeah. We'll update that when we get to
genuinely being
batting cleanup.
hilarious about it. This is like a reality TV show.
It really
is.
is. They should do a reality show on MLB or something.
I'm sure there's probably a documentary in the works.
There probably is, and there probably should be. All right, Manager of the Year in the National League: Carlos Mendoza of the Mets, Pat Murphy of the Brewers, and Mike Schilt of the Padres. And those are some very successful managers who got a lot. I think Mendoza would probably get my vote, even if I voted before the playoffs. But what do you think?
He went 65 and 38 to end the season.
Yeah, they had a huge finish to get to the postseason. But I think Pat Murphy, the big storyline with the Brewers was, oh my God, Craig Counsell has left us.
Good point.
And so they put Pat Murphy in, who was more great success at the college level, and he took a Brewers team and they whipped Craig Counsell's butt basically in the NL Central. So I would go with Pat Murphy over that in that one.
The American League. I know I just kind of made my case, but I have a different opinion, I think. If you want to announce them.
Who are our finalists?
AJ Hinch, Matt Quatraro, and Stephen Vogt.
Oh man, that's a pretty loaded field. All from the Central.
Same division.
You can look at how many games did the Royals lose in 2023? A lot.
Yes.
I mean, they all did.
They did.
I mean, the Guardians were okay, but the Royals' first playoff berth since they won the World Series.
2015.
The Tigers, I don't know how long
They won
it was.
10 years.
10 years. So the Guardians are kind of in there all the time. And then you look, Vogt's a first-time manager, replacing a legend. And so I don't know. That's a tough one. I would probably, I don't know. That's a tough vote. I would probably, just the way that they finish, I think I would probably go with Hinch also.
I was going to say, I think it's in between Hinch and Vogt, but it's like, all right, Stephen Vogt, first-time manager. He thought he was walking into the season with a different roster than he dealt with. You think you have Shane Bieber, and you don't. Now, AJ Hinch, you have Tarek Skubal, but who else do you have on the field as well? So it's like, I don't know, that's an interesting situation because it's kind of like, in a way, Hinch made, something out of nothing. But then Stephen Vogt kind of did too. And his back was even a little more against the wall because it's like you don't count on the injuries that all of the Guardians faced.
Right. I think I would actually, even though I'm an avowed Tigers fan, I think I'd vote.
I know.
There.
I was going to go Vogt too.
I think I might go with him.
It was a little more
again,
impressive.
based on, it was a small sample size where the Tigers did so well. They won 24 of their last 34 games. But that was all after, by the way, they were sellers at the trade deadline.
Right.
So in a way that does speak to the magic of what the manager did. But I think if I were voting right there at the end of the regular season, I would have said, I don't know if that was great managing necessarily or lightning in a bottle. Mm-hmm. I mean, and we're going to see. But I have always thought AJ Hinch is a great manager. I mean, he obviously had some help.
Well,
in
I just
Houston.
had the thought. I wonder if that'll be held against him. I wonder if some voters will be like,
Yeah. Hey, people hold grudges.
I mean, if it's being held against Carlos Beltran in Hall of Fame voting, then little manager of the year action that wouldn't dissuade people, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. So that's a very interesting one. And again, as we say, the awards will be announced sort of Monday through Thursday of next week, and they did that just to give us content for each day. And we're very, very happy at that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
We appreciate Major League Baseball spacing that out. We'll have a different award to announce.
It's like a care package being
It
dropped,
really
like
is. They're
in
just
ration.
manna from
and
the
we are, thank you.
manna in the
Thank
desert.
you, baseball
man.
gods.
It's hitting down, and we're chowing down. So anyway, we'll get to all those awards next week. We did want to talk a little bit. We mentioned the other day about the Fall Stars game that was coming, and the American League team that included all those 4 Texas Rangers did win. None of them were, outstanding. None of them really would catch your eye with what they did or the numbers, except Mark Church finished it for the American League.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mark Church is going to be on the opening day roster. I thought he'd be on the opening day roster last year. He was not, and then he lost out to Yuri Rodriguez, so you kind of got to wonder, scratch their heads about that one. But, anyway, I think Church will be on the opening day roster. It's too good, and he would have been called up early in the season had he not had the what I think it was a lat injury or oblique injury. They're very much similar. So, yeah, that's an automatic. Just go ahead and put him on the opening day roster right now.
You're ready. You're ready to do that.
Screenshot this or whatever they say.
Yeah, we'll save it.
Yeah,
we'll mark it. Mark that. And then, so that's great. Again, the player, if they're only halfway through their season in the Fall League, but the player of the year, if things continue as they are, is also going to be the pitcher of the year in the Fall League. I mean, Josh Stephen is just unbelievable. Right?
Very good. And
he's just having a great time.
Happy for him after some injuries the last couple of years, and he's local.
Yeah.
So
used to go running with his dog out by Joe Pool Lake.
Yeah.
South Grand Prairie kid.
Still root for the local guys always. They're always good for a story. So anyway, he's been great, and that's good. And Owen White was the pitcher of the year a few years ago, and Emiliano Teodo was not pitcher of the year last year, but he didn't allow an earned run. He just dominated, and it really catapulted him into this season. When he had a fantastic year, he's going to be added to the 40-man roster at some point next week when they have to set the reserve list.
Teodo
will be for sure. There's no question. He's Rule 5 eligible, and you're not going to lose that arm. No questions about it. Whether he's a reliever in the future or a starter, you want 102 coming out of that arm.
Yep.
And coming in late in games or starting games and carrying it into the 6th or 7th inning. So, that's another thing coming up next week. We're going to have a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah.
According to Baseball America, best breaking ball, there's a tie for Mark Church and a right-handed pitcher for the Royals, Lunder Avila.
Okay.
You say so.
Yeah.
Mark Church finished that game, I should say, with a nasty curveball, man. Just fell off the table. So, yeah.
Yeah, there was one point with Church not that long ago when they were toying with him being a starter because though he only throws 2 pitches, they think the slider is so good that he could get away with it. But I think he didn't really even pitch in high school that much. So this is an arm that doesn't have a lot of mileage on it. He's still kind of learning how to pitch, frankly. So good on him for what he's doing.
There's a pitcher, I'm blanking on his name, but he was a rookie last year for the Angels. It's like Kanowski or something, but he had
Jack with the long last name.
Kohanski.
Kohanowicz. Jack Kohanowicz. Kohanowicz. He had 2 pitches.
Yeah.
And I remember I talked to the broadcaster about it, and I was like, how is this guy making it work? And he was able to, make that one pitch come across 4 or 5 different ones. So it is doable. You just have to you gotta grease it a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, it's there's been plenty of guys who have done it nowadays. The 2-pitch guy is generally going to be coming out of the bullpen. With 102, you might be coming out of the bullpen last.
Ardell, I can answer this question.
What's Ardell asking?
Who led the majors in innings pitched? Logan Gilbert, 208.
208.
Yep. 4 guys in major leagues.
That's the leader.
Threw over 200.
That's in the entire major leagues. Only 4 guys over 200.
4.
Amazing.
And there were only 8 guys, the opposite, that were hitting over 300.
Yeah.
I just did my Nolan Ryan uncomfortable roll of the eyes after hearing that 200.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Nolan went over 300 in seasons. So
So Tuesday is the deadline to set the reserve list and protect the guys from the Rule 5, and we can talk about that later in the week or even Monday. But the Rangers have some guys. A lot of them are in the fall league, in fact, and probably part of the reason why they're in the fall league, to see if they can gin up any interest with other clubs to help alleviate a potential roster issue. But yeah, there'll be plenty of guys added, and there'll be some guys who are going to be close, going to be up for debate, but may not make it. So, and
you try to trade those guys, right? I mean,
well, you can, you can
at this point.
Yeah, you know. If you're afraid you're going to lose them, try to get something for them. You know, and make the team commit to a 40-man spot that you're not willing to commit to. But I mean, the Rangers have some guys on the 40-man who they could probably sneak through waivers and create room. So, and you know, they haven't signed any free agents yet, but they still have room to do that. I think they're in the 30s, low 30s after all the free agents come off. So there's plenty of room.
Yeah. It's a fun study. We'll talk about it probably later in the week and certainly next Monday and Tuesday as that deadline draws near. We'll show you what Adolis Garcia has been doing. It's Tony Tuesday, so we will get to that. It's all coming up in our batting cleanup segment next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. You see all this fantastic merch?
I was about to say.
Yeah, we're all
wearing it.
I've got one on underneath.
You got one underneath?
Yeah.
We're all sporting it today. And Abs, I don't know if everybody can see yours. Now, get your mic on and computer out of the way for just a sec. I love this one. This is fantastic right there.
Oh, there we
go. This is our sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's the hoodie.
It is hot. I don't know if it's just because it's like incredibly hot out today, but this is
You're a little warm.
It's a good toasty one.
Yeah. Good, though.
Well, anyway, that's lots of merch.
Yeah, that's the merch you can get at store.allcitynetwork.com. It's fantastic. The material is great.
This is really soft.
Yeah. I mean, remarkably soft.
Yeah. And I guess I wear a lot of jacket or hoodies and sweatshirts that are kind of structured.
Mm-hmm.
This one, not.
No.
And I like it. It's a little change of pace.
Yeah.
I just need the weather to bump down like 15 degrees.
We all do. But it's good. It will. Next week it's supposed to be in the 60s, I think.
So,
yeah. Merchandise. Get your merchandise. You got to get your merchandise like we have, and that way we'll see you on the street, and we'll at very least we'll give you a knowing nod.
And you need to become a diehard because Jeff wrote an article today. And if you're not a diehard, you can't read it.
That's right.
Even though we discussed it on the show.
Good point.
Yeah. We didn't get to all the intricacies and
it's a lot of good juice in there.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of going back to yesterday where I made the confession that I haven't been as dialed into the written part as I need to be. Well, by God, I wrote something, and it's kind of recapping some of the stuff that's been going on lately and adding my own little thoughts to it. But you know, we're serious about this stuff. We really want a lot of it to be. For you guys, the diehards, we don't want to give away too much of it for free. There is a doggy video on this one that's pretty funny. If you guys are just follow me for the dog videos, just go ahead and get the diehard stuff, and you'll find it out there. So anyway, yeah, $79.99. You get a free shirt, which takes care of a bunch of that. So it's all good.
Well, speaking of the dog, we got something about a cat.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's part of our cleanup segment.
I teed you up real nice.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah. So remember last year, Jonah Heim and his wife Kinsey. Yeah. Were ready to have a baby there at the time of the World Series, and once that little baby was born, what'd they name that baby, Abs?
What else do you name a baby after you win the World Series? They named him Champ.
What a great name. And so
he's so cute too.
Let me just say, it's our idea, like not us personally, but it's the idea of the great people in the great state of Texas. And then
guess
Freddie
who else
Freeman
did it?
Copied. He didn't have a baby, but he got a cat. Named it Champ.
The family adopted a kitty. And they named him Champ. Look
There's
at that.
Champ, yeah.
I have a cat at home, and it actually looks like that. I do.
There's
My
Champ.
dad's obsessed with her.
Freddie Freeman's new cat Champ. That's a darn long tail on a cat, isn't it?
Well,
Is that how long they always are? No.
I don't know.
Kind of.
Look like
Let's take a look at Champ. Heim.
there you
That's
go.
a cuter one.
Yeah, that's
Kinsey.
Champ.
They call her Lulu, the baby girl, and Nash.
Nash is a riot.
So fun names. She was pregnant during the World Series, and then they had Champ in July, I think.
Okay.
She kind of announced her pregnancy opening day of the 2024 season.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, that's a cool. I thought about this, and that's a pretty cool because I think everyone at some point in their life kind of gets asked like, "Oh, why is your name your name?" And how cool to be. My dad won the World Series that year.
Yeah.
So nothing.
I'm very
nothing
allergic
like.
to cats. So
I am too.
There will be no champs running
I'm
around.
100% with you, Jeff. Can't really be in the same room with
guys are
them for an
missing out.
extended period of time. Yeah.
Are
Missing
we?
out.
So we can't come to your house for dinner, Abby, and take you up on all those
it's like
invitations
700
you've
miles
thrown
away.
our way. Yeah. Oh, that's where the cat is?
Yeah.
Oh, the cat's not here at the apartment.
No, I have all white furniture,
Oh,
so
yeah.
absolutely not.
Would not be a good idea. Okay.
But-
All right. So that's a fun one. And I love the fact that Jonah and Kenzie kind of started a tradition. Now every World Series winner is going to find something, have something, birth something that they name Champ. I'm sure somebody is going to do that next year,
That or
too.
a tattoo, apparently.
Yeah, well, tattoos are big, too. Yeah, no doubt about that.
All right, I called this one.
Yeah.
I'm naming this little segment. We're gonna call it the Soto Saga
Yeah.
because Juan Soto, hottest free agent on the market, and by gosh, he knows it.
Just a little bit ahead of Luis Curvello.
Right? You think? I like that. That's one of the lines from Jeff's thing. It's one of the hottest free agents they talked about at the GM meetings. No, not Juan Soto or whoever else you named. It's Luis Curvello.
24-year-old.
We don't have a
reliever.
Curvello update, but we do have a Soto update.
Well, actually, I saw on his Instagram yesterday he was in the hotel across Texas Live.
Oh, good.
So
the Lowe's there. Yeah.
Yeah. So a meeting or something.
Beautiful. Okay. But let's get to this Soto update. There's a new player, Abs.
Yeah, so the Red Sox are now in the mix. So actually, he's going to meet with both New York teams, the Mets and the Yankees, but not first. It's going to start with the Blue Jays and then the Red Sox, the Mets, the Yankees, Giants and Dodgers are in the mix, and then 2 mystery teams.
You know, I was thinking about this. I saw the Blue Jays are in there, and you know they finished second in the Ohtani deal. They thought they had him. You know, we had the flight tracker. You know, the planes going from LA to
I remember that. Yeah.
Toronto, and you know there were a lot of. It was even reported that they got him, and obviously that didn't work out. But they're serious. They have that Rogers Communications money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, big company in Canada. You know, they can throw it around. I wouldn't put them out of anything really. Sasaki. I think, you know, Toronto is big.
It is
very diverse,
very much a melting pot
city. Yep. So it could appeal to him. You know. So anyway, I've just thought don't count the Blue Jays out on anything. They're at least going to try. They also have to. You know, I also saw that. You know, people are speculating that maybe Vlad Jr. gets traded. Well, if you're going to sign Juan Soto, why would you trade him?
Trade him.
You know, give it one last hurrah. And,
I agree.
And take your shot next offseason at re-signing him or try to get him an extension this offseason. I mean, you know, anyway.
Yeah, if you've got the money to sign these people, you got the money to you know, give an extension to Vlad Jr., for goodness sake.
Right. Do it.
This Soto thing's kind of, I don't know. It's like the Kevin Millar and Alex Rodriguez situation in Boston.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, oh, what if something like that happens now?
Yeah.
You know, where he makes a switch last minute?
Yeah, well, Soto will actually, his first meeting, you got to come to him, of course. He's in California. And his first meeting will be with the Blue Jays. And I know that the Mets have a meeting scheduled ahead of the Yankees. Now, maybe the Yankees are waiting for everyone to go first, and then they'll
I think it's going this is Jeff Passan announced. Blue Jays first, then Red Sox, then the Mets, then the Yankees.
Okay, so maybe the Yankees asked for that final thing where they can trump everybody's offer. who knows? And perhaps Soto
Blank check.
and his camp gave that to him. But anyway, there'll be more updates on this, and certainly eventually.
The home team always bats last, John.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a point. That's a heck of a point. It's baseball after all. Hey, let's talk about Adolis and what he's been doing this offseason. You know, at the end of the year, we could tell, Jeff mentioned it a few times, looked like he was hobbled a little bit. Turns out by the end of the year, both knees were sore, and he didn't need surgery, and he was, going to do the things you do. Rest certainly helps a lot. And good news, we feel like Adolis' knees are fine, because Abs found this beautiful illustration, if you will, of
he's
that.
good to go. Let's
us.
take a look at El Bambe.
This beat crazy. Bounce, 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 bounce. Hold up, wait, hey. Beat the steeds, beat the moves, and
These
never
are
worry
good.
about a hater. I'm just full of
I'll
don't
tell you
know.
why, because he can dance.
What?
Do you think I'm not the best judge of that?
He's
I don't
got
know,
it in
like-
his blood.
That's
I
better
wouldn't
than
even
anything I
That's
could do.
not-
try that.
That's not okay. It's not that hard, but it's not like a TikTok thing
Okay,
that he
do it.
learned. He's just kind of.
Yeah, do
It's
it.
not that hard. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Well, we're sitting down at a show.
Yeah,
Don't want to mess up the audio
It's,
or whatever.
It's Tuesday.
But my
and it's almost
takeaway-
time for the show to end.
My takeaway was that his knees are fine.
Yeah.
I thought he looked pretty darn snappy
His,
dancing.
his
that away.
chain's hanging him down, but
Yeah, well,
this beat crazy.
really dance on this Rangers team is Leote. When
Yeah.
Leote goes doing all the different handshake
The
stuff,
high five.
Well,
I
yeah.
just feel
guess
like
who's his
there's
partner
a
with
real,
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Adoli.
Yeah,
I think
it's in their blood.
yeah.
so.
great.
Adolis should be. If my mind's working right, they announced his situation like a week after the season, so he's probably. It was 8 weeks, so he's probably 5 weeks into that. So I think dancing's allowed after 4 weeks.
Yeah.
There you go.
Making
I'm
that
pretty
up.
sure that's
Who-
the rule.
Wait,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, so say that there was like a trend and they made every player do what Adolis just did. Who do you think would be like the least coordinated? Like, it would be terrible to watch.
It would be in my mind.
I'm gonna go like Scherzer.
No, in my mind, it would be between Jonah and Nate Lowe.
I feel like Lowe's so goofy
I think
though.
Lowe
he'd
would find a way to
pass-
pull it off.
pass, like,
Do you?
Yeah.
Jonah and Dane Dunning.
Dane.
Y'all think
yeah.
DeGrom can do that?
Sure. DeGrom's an athlete, man.
Wow. look at
Anyway,
that. Yeah.
okay.
All
Oh,
right.
I want to see Boach do it.
Oh, would that be with those knees?
Well, I
of
mean,
his?
he wobbles a little anyway.
God bless him. Yeah, he kind of does that when he walks toward the dugout. Yeah.
You guys let us know.
Oh,
All right.
interesting.
Some update on a Florida team.
Yeah.
Tropicana Field was affected by a hurricane. There's a little bit of an update there. We saw that the roof was ripped off. So it can be fixed for $55 million
55 million.
and ready by 2026. St. Petersburg.
2026?
Yeah.
What are they going to do this year?
St. Petersburg must decide if they want to pay for the repair or continue planning to open a new ballpark in 2028. So the Rays will most likely play at the Phillies or the Yankees spring training park in 2025. They just announced spring training. I don't know the plan for the actual season.
Well, the Phillies are in Clearwater, which is just west of Tampa.
Yeah, and the Yankees
the
are
Yankees are in Tampa. I
in
mean,
Tampa.
it's a great location,
and
really.
it's a great stadium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking about 11,000, which is probably what more than the Rays need.
Yeah.
Now there will have to be improvements made, just by virtue of what's in the players, the CBA and all that jazz. But $55 million,
a lot.
That's big money. I mean,
Yeah.
they have insurance, right? I mean,
True. True.
Is that after insurance? I mean, if so, they need
Well,
to,
and
they
again,
need to
you
rework
know,
that policy.
Hey, those insurance policies down there, man, all of a sudden you look at your rider. Oh, no, you don't have it for the roof. Well, what do you mean I don't have it?
I do wonder, when John Daniel was here, he's talking about there was some water damage.
Yes. So it's
do they
everything.
have flood insurance? I don't know.
Yeah.
There
no.
was such horrible timing when that storm happened because I don't remember the company, but it was like a, get your fan merch, like
Like a FOCO.
kind of similar.
Not as good, but
They were
like,
doing an end of the season sale.
Oh.
So one of the advertisements said like raise the roof.
Oh,
With-
oh boy. They
Yeah,
got raised.
with the raise. And it was like 50% off. And Twitter annihilated it. And they were like,
Yeah.
horrible timing.
Yeah.
Which
that's
I agree.
Very unfortunate timing, not necessarily, mean spirited, but certainly unfortunate. Big news. We believe that next week on Tuesday, which of course is always Tony Tuesday.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So there is not a Tony Tuesday today.
Oh.
Because Coach Tony Beasley is in St. Lucia.
Nice.
His son is getting married this week, so he is taking some time away. So there is not a Tony Tuesday tweet that I can say today. However, stay tuned because I think next Tony Tuesday might be a little bit better than the usual is all I'm going to say.
That's beautiful. That's fantastic. That's a tease. In
Wink,
the
wink.
business, we call that a tease. Yeah.
Wink, wink.
So you must be here next Tuesday. But then again, you must be here every day. Because we're here every day, Monday through Friday, noon every day this week, hanging out, having fun, and chatting with you. We really appreciate all the chatter we've gotten on the side side panel that we see today.
I like the cheddar, too.
Chatter.
You know, you're in the Juan Soto mode, so cheddar makes sense.
Yeah. So, we wish we were in that kind of mode. The cheddar.
Hey, Rangers aren't. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm afraid not. I don't think that's. They could. They won't. So that's it for another day. We do appreciate you. We appreciate you hanging out with us each and every lunch hour. And we will see you again tomorrow at noon for another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.